You have 1 hour to get here.
That costs just 1 minute. Well, oh, I get an hour.
You got an hour. You got an hour. Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes, sir. All right, welcome everybody. Glad to have you here for our work session. First of all, I'd like council to need a motion to remove an item from the consent agenda, item F. Staff does not want to pursue that this time, so is there a motion to remove item F?
Which one is that, Bill?
Item F.
What is item F about?
12.
Yeah, it's just an easement across property. Staff is not yet ready to move forward with this item, so we need to remove a consent agenda so that when the consent agenda is adopted on Thursday evening, it's not part of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion and second. Ready to vote? All in favor, raise your hand. Thank you very much. We have one presentation for Thursday, the remembrance of engineer Christopher Shane Hartzell that passed away recently. Parks and Rec will have an update on that, on department reports, and now we move to public hearings. Number one, conduct public hearing pursuant of NC General Statute 158-7.1 to consider granting a 1-year 50% tax basic economic development grant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Call on Sam from Cabarrus CDC to come forward and present this item to council.
Welcome, Sam.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchansky, Ms. Deason. Thank you for the opportunity to present this project, Concord Gateway. The proposed location for Concord Gateway Industrial Spec Development is 4518 Davidson Highway, Concord 28027. The 55-acre site containing multiple parcels is across from International Drive on Highway 73 at exit 55. McCraney Property Company plans to develop approximately 400,000 square feet across multiple buildings. Building sizes will range from 10,000 to 64,000, with suite sizes ranging from 4,000 to 30,000 square feet. The first 4 buildings in Phase 1 will deliver next year in 2026. Phase 2, also consisting of 4 buildings, will deliver in 2028. The buildings will be available for both lease and purchase to tenants. The project team has a long track record of executing developments of this nature, attracting businesses in diverse industries such as light manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, R&D, showroom, engineering, light assembly, mechanical service providers, and creative agencies. Projected investment is estimated to be $45 million in real property. The City of Concord grant analysis is based on an estimated $45 million projected investment. The company is asking for your consideration of a 1-year, 50% economic development grant for the spec development. Estimated grant for that 1-year term is $94,500, and net revenue to the city would also be $94,500. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? All right, thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you all.
All right, moving to item number 2. Conduct a public hearing, consider adopting an ordinance annexing 2.24 acres on Old Airport Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Alden will provide the staff report to council on this item.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchansky, and Ms. Deason. This is an annexation petition for 2625 Old Airport Road. The applicant is William Parra of RDMS Homes. The area is approximately 2.24 acres. It is currently zoned Cabarrus County Low Density Residential, and the proposed zoning is City of Concord Residential Medium Density. So for this project, the proposed use is 6 single-family detached units. The applicant is proposing these 6 lots. You can see them here. There'll be a minimum of 15,000 square feet per lot, and there will be a mixture of 1- and 2-story homes with both 3- and 4 bedrooms. This project is currently in for sewer. You will hear that next week. It should be noted that lots 1 through 4 are the only ones that will extend to public utilities. Lots 5 and 6 would need to be served privately, and this has been noted to the applicant. So here are the existing conditions. You can see it's located at the corner of Old Airport Road and Linwood Drive. So in the picture on the left, you're looking from Old Airport Road across, and then the picture on the right is looking back from Linwood towards Old Airport Road. As you can see with the zoning, There is some R1, RM1 and RM2, but it is mostly county low-density residential. If you choose to annex this parcel, the land use plan does designate it as rural. RM1 is not a corresponding zoning classification, so if this does go to planning and zoning to have zoning placed on it, it will return to you in 2 months, so in May, to have that land use plan amended to suburban neighborhood. Adjacent property owners, recognized neighborhoods, and HOAs were notified in a letter on February the 26th, and it was advertised in the Independent Tribune on March the 1st. So the next steps would be to consider that annexation request and adopt or deny the annexation. If annexed, it will be considered before planning and zoning in April, and then would come back to you for a land use plan amendment in May. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those.
Any questions, council? Yes, go ahead.
You said 2 would be private sewer? Why would that be?
So based on the notes from engineering, lot 5 and 6 would not be considered served by water and gravity sewer due to topography. Also, the existing public gravity sewer main within the old airport road right-of-way is tributary to an existing downstream public sewer lift station and force main that has limited and or no additional capacity to serve the proposed development.
Can you even put a septic tank on 30,000 square feet?
Well, that is something that the applicant is working with the county on.
Okay, not our, okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Repeat that about the lift station study. You don't know.
Sure. The existing public gravity sewer main within the old airport road right-of-way is tributary to an existing downstream public sewer lift station force main that has limited and or no additional capacity to serve the proposed development.
So we're voting on sewer first and annexation. We're doing annexation first, and then 2 weeks later, they're asking for sewer.
Correct.
But they've not gotten the appropriate zoning, correct?
They do not currently. Go back one side. This one?
And if you go back one more after that,
Sure.
and another, I want to see the 6 lots again.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so those 5 and 6 do not have sewer.
So the one at the top
None of them have sewer, and 5 and 6 are not.
would have to be served privately.
You serve privately. All right.
Any feedback from the surrounding neighborhoods?
We haven't had any feedback at this time. But generally for annexations, it's usually only questions. We generally hear from people when it's time for a rezoning.
Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much. Item 3, conduct a public hearing considering adopting ordinance amending a portion of Chapter 22 cemeteries.
Hey, good afternoon. This is an ordinance amendment that we have talked about several times now, and has finally come to you for your consideration. We are essentially seeking to set forth some rules and procedures that would apply to families who wish to use an ancestral plot that is still deeded and recorded in the name of a deceased ancestor. It is my belief, my firm belief, that this will make the process much easier for the families and for the city staff who deal with this. I do want to bring 2 things to your attention. The first thing is that when I sent this out for your review several weeks ago, it feels like, I did make one additional change that is not redlined in what's in your packet. I took out in the very first paragraph the words fee simple title. When I think about it, we don't actually convey cemeteries in fee simple, and having those words in the ordinance could lead to some cognitive dissonance in the future if someone claims to actually own the whole bundle of sticks that is associated with fee simple title. Anyone have questions about that little piece? Okay, and then the second piece is that I did send the ordinance and the proposed affidavit that we'll use with the families. out to several funeral directors in the jurisdiction and received no feedback from them, but I did receive a little bit of feedback from Mr. Scarborough. So he opined that there should be a provision that prohibits transfers of spaces resulting in joint ownership by more than one person other than a husband and wife. So in his example, he feels like a grandfather could not transfer or sell spaces to his 10 grandchildren, but he could transfer 2 spaces to his son and daughter. I'm going to disagree with that. I don't think the city should be, it's not the city's business to be telling people who they can and cannot transfer their property to. He also suggested a provision that requires a majority vote for people who are in the, you know, when we looked at the hierarchy for Mr. Porter's lots, and we had the original owner, his descendants, their descendants, their descendants, their descendants, 5 or 6 generations down. So he believes that those people, it should be one person, one vote. And I'm also going to disagree with that because that puts us right back in the place where staff is currently, where we have to go and run the entire genealogy of the entire family for 150 years to try to figure out who's got a vote and who doesn't. So that really would defeat the purpose of what I think we're trying to do here. So he also opined that the ordinance should state that the cemetery is free to adopt interpretations and applications of the ordinance for the public to read. I don't think we need to say that in the ordinance. We do that all the time, and the statute specifically states that rules have to be adopted by ordinance. So if you have any questions, we have talked this quite a bit.
Go ahead, JC.
Should have asked you this, Val. In your time with the city, how many times have we dealt with this where we weren't sure who actually owned a plot? Just rough numbers.
Yes, sir. It's cyclical, and I would suggest to you not less than once a quarter. Sometimes they're fairly simple to deal with, where the deceased property owner, it's just their children who are trying to bury the spouse of the deceased property owner, so very simple to deal with. Sometimes it's like Mr. Porter's lot, where it's generations and generations and generations have passed, and people are far-flung from here to Bangkok, and it can be very difficult. Yes, sir.
Any more questions? All right, thank you. All right, now moving on to presentations, petitions, and requests. Number 1, consider adopting a resolution authorizing eminent domain for an easement on 3538 Rock Hill Church Road.
Right, this is also me. This is a lot owned by Marlene Markey. Acquisition of this easement is necessary for the construction of an electric 100 kV transition line. The easement is 0.127 acres in size and is estimated to be a value of $2,377.01. Because I know Mr. McKenzie likes it when we add the 1 cent to stuff. We have ordered an appraisal just to verify that that valuation, but we do need to put the 100 kV transmission line in.
Question from council.
A lot of houses on each side. Is this the last piece that we need for the entire transmission line, and this does it, or are there others?
Gonna have to defer to Alex. I think there's several more, Alex.
I apologize. There were 45 total. We were able to secure signatures on 42, so there's 3 remaining, this and 2 others. One of them we've already filed eminent domain on, so we've got 3 left. Or 3 left, this one, and we've already filed 1 on the other one. And we're still working with the 3rd person. 2 names are on the deed, hers and her son, and the son's out of the country. So we're trying to work through that one.
I don't remember another one. Did we? Obviously, we voted on the other one. Is that the one right at the substation?
Yeah, we've already voted on the other one, yes, sir.
Okay.
We
That
would-
was kind of
It was
a
tied up in a title issue, yes, sir.
semi-abandoned. Okay, so
We
there's
would
really
never file eminent
one
domain.
more after this one?
Yes, sir, and we're trying to work through that one. They're amicable. We just got to,
You're working with the last one?
yes, sir.
This may be it.
This may be it, yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And I will say 42 out of 45 is really, really, really good.
It's excellent.
Yes, sir.
That's good.
Good, thank you.
Bless.
Yeah, exactly.
Any more questions? All right, number 2, consider adopting a resolution giving preliminary approval to issuance of multifamily housing revenue bonds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Jessica will cover this item for council this evening.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. I'm coming before you tonight to talk about another potential conduit debt issuance similar to what we did for Coleman Mill. The attorney for Poplar Development Group did reach out about the Concord Chase Apartments. They are planning to acquire and renovate those apartments. It is an existing 124-unit affordable housing development that was built in 2002 and is located off Wilshire Avenue. They intend to do a substantial renovation, including interior and exterior updates to the buildings, the site and amenities, and accessibility-related updates. So they have applied for an allocation of bonds and tax credits and would like for the city to serve as the bond issuer. And so this is the initial resolution to kind of get that going. The total that they currently have is financing not to exceed $27 million. And the developer will be here on Thursday if you have any questions about the project itself. So hopefully they can answer that. But I'll be happy to answer any questions. This is exactly what we did with Coleman Mill, just a different property.
Any questions? Yes, go ahead.
You've answered these many times, but I'm gonna ask it again.
Okay.
Because this in no way impacts our creditability, our credit scores,
Correct,
zero impact in any way.
correct.
Got it?
Yep. Yeah, we're just kind of the one helping facilitate since we serve as the housing authority for the area, is my understanding.
I have a quick question too. Are there provisions in there for them to pay the city's legal fees?
We can, yeah. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but with Coleman Mill, we did that where they could pay, fees associated with that. I think we did 1%, so we can do that with this one as well, yeah.
And will we be getting the bond issuance fee, or have we already agreed? Where will that go?
Well, I guess I was referring to the bond issuance fee. They pay their attorney directly that's representing us, Kristen Kirby. They pay those fees. So sorry, but the 1% is the bond issuance fee that we would, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you're okay.
Non-finance person, that makes no sense to me how we can be a backing in any way and it not impact us, but you've said that several times. I had the same question JC had.
Yeah, and I don't know if Valerie wants to add anything to that from a legal perspective, but I promise it's accurate.
I defer to Scott Leo.
And that's what we always run it by, like our bond attorney, to make sure that they don't have any concerns. And Kristen Kirby with McGuire Woods does actually represent us as well as part of that. And she does these deals all the time. This is one of their specialties in Raleigh, so, yeah.
Good. Questions? Anybody else?
My question, is this going to take 6 or 7 years?
Not, and I hope I don't have to come to you as many times as I did for the last one. All right, thank you.
All right.
Let me know when you deal with it.
All right, item 3, consider awarding a bid to Mountaineer Contractors for North Apron Access Road.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Dirk is coming up. He will cover both items 3 and 4 this evening for council.
Yes, good afternoon, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. Item number 3, we are requesting approval to award a contract to Mountaineer Contractors, Inc. For the North Apron Road access. This is something that we've been working on for several years. This is a grant that we have received from the NCDOT. It's an earmark of $5 million. The bids were open up on the 23rd. We received 5 bids. The lowest bid is 27% under the engineer's estimate. We are recommending approval of said bid and authorize city manager to execute agreement and adopt a budget amendment. Any
Question from council?
questions?
So
Sorry.
these are state funds that are being used, not federal funds.
That is correct.
So you're not anxious about that it's actually being funded or not?
That's correct. We received that earmark. That's something, it's $5 million, so we're guaranteed to have the money. Or else I'll go up straight up to Raleigh, have a very frank conversation with NCDOT.
Okay. And item 4.
So this is a new policy program for Concord Paget Regional Airport because we only have 2 gates, 2 airlines. I think I added up, we have now 14 destinations that are to and from Concord Pageant Regional Airport, something that we are recommending to adopt a gate management policy and procedures. Particularly night before last, we had a couple of delays with Allegiant Airlines and Avello, and they got basically a issue with the number of gates and availability of aircraft. So this is something that we are recommending that the city council adopt. Is something that we talked about in January during the planning session. And it gives us the flexibility to adopt and interpret the schedules, something that we actually started several months ago with schedules with airlines to ensure there is no conflicts. 45 minutes arrival departure time between, so we can process with TSA the number of passengers and not have a landlock issue on the land side with vehicle traffic.
So this officially gives us that capability.
Yes, sir. This will actually allow council to adopt the policy, and then we'll enforce the policy.
Okay.
Been doing sort of off.
You've been doing it, but.
We had to.
Yeah, exactly. Questions? All right. Thank you, Dirk.
Thank you.
Number 5, consider approval of a final design and renovation part of Academy Gibson Athletic Fields.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So items 5 and 6 will be covered by Sheila this evening for council.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, Ms. Deason. Tonight, we are seeking council approval for the final design plans for the Academy Gibson Fields. This is one of the 13 projects, a part of the bond referendum. The estimate for the project is $4,181,519. The budget for this project was $4,141,176. The estimate from the cost estimate for this project is over $40,343 as far as the design for the cost estimate. The master plan was adopted in August of 2022. The project includes Webb Field, the Diamond and Rectangle Field, and the buildings that are located at Webb, McAllister, and Gibson. The firm Dodd Studios, doing business as Fit Fields, was the consultant and the designer for this bond project. The first area I would like to review, how do you go back? I clicked too quick. The difference I want to talk about for final design, council requested information about the difference between the final design and the master plan. We're going to look at Webb Field and McAllister Field first. There are 4 items that are different from the final design from the master plan. The first item was there was a playground identified that was going to be between Webb Field and McAllister Field on the master plan. Due to spacing, this had to be removed. There's not enough space to add the playground. The paving of the drive at the top of Webb Field going to McAllister Field, due to topography and the need for retaining walls, this was changed to sidewalks to still allow for accessibility. The third item is the location of the storage building was moved back to its original location. On the master plan, it was located at the top at Webb Field near the double gate entrance. It was due to retaining walls, topography, and the restroom. The location was moved back to its original spot adjacent to the diamond field at Webb. The fourth item is there was a on-street parking at McAllister Field off of Kroll. This item will be a future project, and we will partner with transportation for this. On-street parking, we will change it to a parking lot that will be allowed for access to the McAllister Field, but this will be a future project, not a part of the bond project. On this picture, you see the existing Webb Field and McAllister Field. The design for the field improvements include turfing the entire baseball diamond and the football field, the rectangle field. This will extend field usage and reduce field maintenance. It will become the first turf field in City of Concord for Parks and Recreation. The turf will be a dual fiber synthetic turf with rubber and sand infill. We will also have a full graphic in the middle of the field noting the City of Concord and its logo. It will also include a high-speed drainage. We will also add two food truck pedestals that will be adjacent to Academy Avenue for events and games, new dugouts with black vinyl fencing. We will remove the fencing behind this home plate. We will add a brick wall and netting to improve spectator viewing. We will also have multiple base paths to accommodate variety of league play. We will also have removable goalposts so the field can be used for either baseball or football or soccer. We will also add an entrance. At the entrance off of Academy, we will add decorative fencing and columns to honor the history of the field. A little bit of history for the field. In 2024, Webb Field turned 100 years old. The field was also used by the Concord Weavers, a minor league baseball team between 1936 and 1951. The minor league team was affiliated with the Philadelphia Phillies. The field stadium name was named, Webb Field was named after Superintendent Dr. A.S. Webb. Based on the name of the stadium, this is how Concord High School athletic teams became the Spiders. Shown here is the design for the renovations to the existing football press box for Webb Field. It includes the concession stand and the press box. A few highlights I would like to mention: we are replacing the upper siding, the window trim, the fascia, and the soffit with a new roof. We will add 2 new base sinks, new metal roll-up doors, and accessible exterior service counter. Here we are showing the architectural design for the new storage and restroom building at Webb Field adjacent to the baseball diamond. The architecture was designed to match the existing Academy Recreation Center, the Waterworks building at Clearwater, and the awning at the depot. Some other buildings that will be renovated also include the Webb Field press box. We will replace the upper siding, the window trim, soffit, and new exterior paint. The McAllister restroom building, we will add new plumbing fixtures, new partitions, new wall tile, new epoxy floor, heaters, so no winterization will be needed now. We will add electric hand dryers and a French drain to correct the slab washout. At the McAllister press box and concession stand, we will convert the lower floor to additional storage and paint the exterior. On this slide is the floor plan for the new storage building and restroom. The renovations include doors that will open to the field and to the parking lot. It also has a men's restroom, a women's restroom, a family restroom, and a janitor room. The family restroom will also have an inclusive adult or an inclusive changing table referred to as an adult. It'll be able to, it will be the partnership we have with Willow's Wish. It will include this changing table that can accommodate adult weight. And the total square footage is 1,582 square feet for this building. The next we will discuss is Gibson Field. On the adopted master plan, it was identified for this to turn into a neighborhood park. A quick review of the two items that are different from the master plan to the final design. On the master plan, it showed two playgrounds. We have removed the second playground. In its location is currently a covered bleacher system, and we wanted to keep the bleacher system for spectators and have it covered. And we also wanted to keep the open space for the youth to be able to have warm-ups for the games that are played there. The next item is the expansion of the smaller existing parking lot off Ballpark. We are recommending no expansion of the smaller lot. We are currently working with CHA and the REACH grant to install a traffic garden on this site. This will be the first in our park system.
Wait, what is that?
A traffic garden is an area that's painted like a street with stop signs, and it allows for us to teach kids the safe way to ride bikes and use where to go, how to go for youth. It'll help with bike rodeos.
That's replacing the parking lot?
It would replace it. That parking lot is the smaller one off of Ballpark. We still have the main large parking lot off of Meisenheimer.
So it's the one on the top.
Yes, sir. On this picture to the left shows Gibson Field. The picture to the right shows the new playground that we moved there from Caldwell Park. The playground location is in the open space between the trees that you see on the left. Tonight, we are requesting council approval for the final design for the Academy Gibson Athletic Fields. Once approved, our next step will be to prepare construction documents and be ready for bidding. During this process, we will continue to look for cost savings, especially to shorten the over 40,000 overage on it when we begin the construction documents. Our goal is to be ready to bid this early summer, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
How long will this construction take?
Anticipation for this is probably a year and a half. Depends on the turf fields, but in our planning was it 548 days, so a year and a half?
Questions?
I have one. The traffic garden, will that be used for pedestrian safety?
Everything.
Safety town?
Yes,
Safety town.
but it's going to be on the concrete, so kids will be able to walk, stop, cross.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, kind of trying to summarize what actually changed, which is, we lost two playgrounds
Yes, sir.
and two different parking areas. Will we have enough parking to support the games and the parents and the grandparents?
Yes,
without-
sir.
So it won't be another Carolina Courts parked all the way down?
No,
to-
sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Anything else? I missed something? What else did we lose besides those?
The parking lot is just going to be a future project, the one at McAllister, so it's not removed. We just need to make it a parking lot instead of on-street parking. So our goal is to have more versus on-street. It's not, transportation doesn't allow on-street parking where you back into a busy street. So that's the reason the move to make it a parking lot versus on-street parking.
Okay, other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now number 6, consider authorizing city manager to negotiate an extra contract with HGS LLC.
Yes, tonight, I'm bringing you the final construction contract as part of the Dorton Park bond renovations. This is for the bank erosion along Cottle Creek. The winning bidder was HGS LLC, traded as RES Environmental Operating Company LLC, better known as RES Environmental. On this slide, you can see the bank erosion that has occurred along Cottle Creek at the north end of the park. The bidding process that was followed was informal. Engineering assisted contacting 4 potential bidders. Only one bid was received from RES Environmental in the amount of $410,593.57. The project covers about 140 feet. The improvements include stabilizing the existing erosion by adding an overlapping layered rock wall system and vegetated soil lifts. The plantings in this area will be native vegetation to stabilize the bank and to avoid any future erosion in the area. Here is another picture of the area. And here are additional pictures of the area. We are seeking council's approval to move forward with the $410,592.57 to RES Environmental, and the approval of the attached budget amendment for $150,350. This additional money, the $150,000, is from the Park and Recreation Future Bond Account. This is cost savings that we have accrued over time, not bond projects, that we have in our project fund. This will assist with funding for this project. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Can you go back and look at the overview before that? The 140 feet, where is it along there that you're doing it?
It'll see
Closest point?
if you can see the fencing, it's semicircled, but from one fence end to the other fence end that is at the bank.
Okay. And this has just been occurring forever?
We had some trees fall, and the trees were causing a whirlpool effect, and it kept eating into the bank. This summer, and when we had the hurricane, the 2 larger flood events that occurred, 2 of those trees and one of the larger trees is now washed under, and it's actually under poplar tent. This tree is the only one remaining, so we will, part of the restoration will be removing that tree.
Bill, I have a couple. By the way, that area's been bad for a long time, so I'm here to say I've seen it many times. But question is, once this is let, how long will this project take?
Once they receive notice to proceed, 60 days is the estimated time.
So we're going to open the park with this going on. The fencing is going to be the issue to keep people out of it and all that.
Yeah, we will add fencing to the north end of the park, so the fields, the tennis courts and all that can be accessible. And then this area will be closed off until the repairs are complete, and then it will open back up.
That whole end, not just up against the creek, up against the river?
Yeah, we would close it all off because you will have equipment staged and boulders staged in that area, and we want to make sure we keep everyone safe. Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
It's probably not for you, Sheila. I think our procurement policy would require a performance and payment bond, Lloyd, on 400,000. I didn't see it in any of the documents.
I'll defer to Valerie. I'm not sure on the value amount. I don't know if it's that low or not.
I would have to go and look at the policy.
Could you check? It's just, good.
Other questions? All right, thank you, Sheila.
Thank you.
Number 7, consider accepting a preliminary application from Douglas M. and Area Horton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So Jackie will handle items 7 and 8 to round out the regular agenda for staff this evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Payne, Ms. Kolchinsky, and Ms. Deason. Tonight, we want to ask you to consider approving a preliminary application for Mr. and Mrs. Horton. We discussed this briefly a few weeks ago. Their address is 10647 Stonewall Road in Huntersville. This is a 1 acre parcel, and they need water service. Their existing well has failed. Sewer is not available to the parcel.
Questions? All right. Number 8, consider accepting a preliminary application from Gladys Brothers.
Okay, similarly, Gaddis Brothers Property Holdings LLC has a parcel at 411 Patience Drive. It's a .44 acre parcel within Area A, zoned AO. Sewer is not available to the parcel, and the applicants wish to build one single-family home.
Questions? 0.44 acres.
.44.
Okay. No questions? Thank you very much. Number 9, consider establishing a 2025 filing fee for seats for mayor and city council. You can see the amounts here. So that's where we are with that. Any questions on that? All right, any items besides item F to pull off the consent agenda? Nothing to pull off, so we will be working on that. And we have no closed session tonight. I will talk about, today I went to a Blue Zones meeting at Atrium Health. And based upon everything I've been reading and studying and been a part of with that, I've asked them to come present to us. They're not asking for money, they just want us to understand what they're doing. So at our second work session in April, they'll be coming in to give a presentation to us. And some of the important impacts are the cost, the long-term costs of health insurance for our employees as well as for our citizens. So I think it's important that we do that. So any other things you'd like to comment tonight or discuss? That's, Lord, you got anything? Okay, motion to adjourn. Got a second? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
The trigger point for performance and payment bonds is $300,000, so that this contract will require.